I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but Nintendo has crushed PlayStation 2. What's happening, Internet? Kwing here, one of the co-hosts of Kwingsletsplays, and today we're talking about some controversial Nintendo news, and actually some pretty happy Nintendo news. So a lot of you may not actually be aware of this, but the Nintendo Switch is killing it right now. In fact, Nintendo has finally released their not projected numbers, actual sales for the Nintendo Switch. And let me tell you, I was actually kind of surprised based on their fiscal year ending last year. I think they were around like 70 or 80 million sold worldwide. So dropping this huge number of 132 million units sold, not shipped like Sony says, sold worldwide. That is an amazing feat. Now, the Switch is now the #2 top-selling game console of all time. It is actually catching up to the PS2, which I believe is at around 155 or 160 million worldwide. So basically, after this holiday season, well, Sony's not going to be the king anymore, which is kind of amazing because they've been top dog for game consoles for, it's got to be close to 20 plus years, maybe longer than that. So this is kind of a big deal as somebody who is a Nintendo fan too, because, I mean, man. But that's not all. Nintendo dropped some very impressive numbers that no one was expecting whatsoever about Tears of the Kingdom. Now, Tears of the Kingdom made headlines earlier this year discussing how they were not going to do DLC, which I still think is a very bad idea. But I mean, when you've gone through and you've played Tears of the Kingdom as much as I have, but I haven't touched the game since, I mean, how could they really do DLC? You had the whole underground, you had Hyrule, you had the sky. I mean, there was a lot of content in that very beefy game. So, I mean, I understand what Nintendo is saying, but at the same time, it is disappointing because, I mean, this is a game that literally moved consoles. If you didn't know this or not, Tears of the Kingdom sold a whopping 19 million copies since it came out this spring. That is insane. To put that into comparison for you, Breath of the Wild is at, after 2017, 32 million copies sold worldwide. Tears of the Kingdom now, 19 million copies. That means like almost half of the people who played Breath of the Wild got Tears of the Kingdom. Now that's brand loyalty, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just new people. People who loved Breath of the Wild went out and supported that game like there was no tomorrow. I mean, Nintendo's fan base is just awesome, and I'm a part of that. You're a part of that. So good job, us's. Right? I mean, my gosh, that is insane. So I don't even think that's the craziest thing that happened yesterday with all the Nintendo news. Like, I guess Miyamoto was like, hey, you know what, we're gonna like blow up the internet with our sales for Tears of the Kingdom, but I got something that's gonna have people talking about Legend of Zelda, even though like Mario is just dominating the trends. He says, I know how we're gonna get Zelda like trending worldwide. And they're like, oh, we're doing it? It's like, yeah, we're doing it. We're announcing the Legend of Zelda live-action movie starring Chris Pratt. I'm kidding about the Chris Pratt stuff, but the Legend of Zelda live-action movie is in development, and Sony is actually partnering with Nintendo. So people are already saying that Tom Holland and Zendaya are going to be Link and Zelda. I don't think so. It'll probably be some like new up-and-coming cheap actors, and Nintendo is going to have full creative control like they did for the Mario movie. So since Japan isn't really big on like, we'll say race swapping stuff, I wouldn't expect really big high-profile American actors to take the role of the first Legend of Zelda movie. They're going to make sure that the people who are cast are going to be authentic to Link and Zelda. So that's just how, Japan is. They're very, very strict on that. And they're also, when they make their medieval fantasies, they make it very Scandinavian or like kind of Swedish or whatever. So I would expect to see some actors of that descent. Like, I would look over in that part of the world for where you're going to have your Link and Zelda. So if anybody knows, like, really famous actors and actresses over, like, far onto the Western world, that's probably where you're going to see Link and Zelda cast. I don't think they'll be American. But it is a surprise that Nintendo is actually partnering with Sony. It's almost like, those of you that remember, anybody remember the Nintendo PlayStation at all? Probably people don't, but there was a time before Nintendo partnered with the Philips CDI, which was a disaster. We got the, I'm gonna bomb some dodongos, the Zelda CDI games and Hotel Mario. Horrible, horrible, horrible time to be alive. I kid you not. I have had the displeasure of playing both of those games. I do not own a Philips CDI, thank you very much, and no Ultimate better ever ask me to play those games, because it's not happening. I'll tell you what I'd rather do than play those games. I would rather make an appointment for my dentist and just have them drill my teeth. That'd be just as painful as playing those games. So pretty much Nintendo dumped Sony when they had this great idea to make the Nintendo PlayStation the first ever CD-based video game console. They had a great deal going with Sony, but Sony wanted to do something that Nintendo didn't like, and then they teamed with Philips and they made their own mock system. And of course, PlayStation being high and dry, they went with Sony, and Sony's just like, hey, we're just going to release this as an in-house thing, and, you know, they changed the world. The PlayStation was an amazing console, I'm not knocking it, and it gave us the PS2, the PS3. I've been a PlayStation owner alongside Nintendo for a very, very long time. I was late to the Xbox game, but I have had a PlayStation since the original, and even some of the smaller versions of said PlayStation. But I still think it's kind of cool that PS2 is finally going to be dethroned. I mean, that's about time, and that's really great for the game industry as a whole. It's taken this long, so Sony, I mean, you really deserve that GIF with the raising of the glass. There it is. We got the Uncharted guy doing it. That's perfect. So, yeah, the whole PlayStation, Nintendo thing, Sony and Nintendo coming together to work on a Nintendo property is really funny. And I applaud that. I think that's great. But yeah, Nintendo is totally killing it with the Nintendo trends, like, all over the world right now. And then next week, we got the long-awaited Super Mario RPG remake, which I hear nothing but good things about. So Nintendo is crushing Sony big time to you know, coincide with the whole clickbait thumbnail, which a lot of you fell for because this is a pretty tame video. I'm trying something new to basically get back all the views stolen from me by YouTube, which over the weekend we had like 20,000 views stolen. We got 5,000 back from that very baity thumbnail and title for that Spider-Man video. We have one of the nicest comment sections for a very, we'll say, baity thumbnail. So good on you guys. I really think you're awesome, and you're very cool people, so great job, everybody. You show that we have the best community in the world on YouTube. I really enjoyed reading a lot of those comments, by the way, too. Very thought-provoking, and, you know, aside from the couple people screaming, you know, just all kinds of bizarre stuff, there really wasn't that much hate, and only 2 death threats, so that's not bad, considering, you know, if I saw that thumbnail, I'd be like, oh, wait, it's one of those channels, but no, it was completely opposite, just like this video. It's gonna have, I'm contemplating, like, what type of thumbnail I'm gonna make. Maybe Mario holding up the severed console of PlayStation, or I don't know. But just so you guys know, for fun, not to start console wars or anything, which this probably will, and apologies in advance, or maybe no one will see this video and it'll just get a few hundred views. I don't know. But did you know that the Switch has actually outsold the PS5, the PS4? PS4 was at 119 million worldwide, by the way, and PS5, I believe, is at 46 million. The Xbox One and the Xbox Series S and X have all been sold by the Switch. And the Switch has only been around since 2017. Xbox One and PS4 both released, I believe, in 2013 and 2012, and they were outsold by the newcomer, the Switch. So, I mean, people got to stop knocking Nintendo, because Nintendo's coming back, baby. We don't know what they're going to do with their, you know, sequel to the Switch, but I do have some notes, Nintendo, if you're listening. For the past year, oh yeah, this is going to get nasty, so just bear in mind. So for the past year, Nintendo, you've released several third-party games onto your Nintendo Switch, and I have no idea what type of direction is going on in Japan, but you guys really need to straighten yourselves out, because I've heard reports of several third-party games, as well as played several third-party games, that are completely unplayable on Nintendo Switch because the frame rate is abysmal. You also have the Arkham Collection coming out, which people have no idea how it's going to run on the Switch, especially with all these really bad performance things lately. Usually what you guys used to do is you used to put performance over the visual quality, and case in point with the newest Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 game, there's really not much difference graphically between the PS5 version and the Switch. The problem is the frame rates are terrible because your Switch can't handle trying to give us really good visuals. The idea of the Switch is for a system that you can take on the go and, you know, play your favorite games. And you seem to have great optimization for the Zelda and the Mario games, but when it comes to your third-party stuff, you guys really got to get it together, because most of the ports that have released on the Switch this year have sucked. I hate to say it, but if it wasn't designed for the Switch as a first-party title or a second-party, third parties really aren't utilizing your you know, technology very well anymore, and you gotta make them put a stop to that, because, you know, a lot of gamers are missing out on some really cool third-party games that just aren't really working on the Switch. So go back to your whole, you know, performance over visuals again, because the Switch can't handle the visual quality. I'm sorry, Mario. Yeah, that pretty much does it for my savageness. So, that aside, I love Nintendo, and I own multiple Switches, you know? So, anyway, now I want to hear from all of you guys and gals. How do you feel about the Nintendo Switch becoming pretty much the top-selling game console in the world? Did you think that was going to happen, or did you think Sony would always, you know, have the reins as the top console seller of all time, the PS2? I was surprised by it. I'm sure some of you were surprised by it. Maybe some of you, before you ever saw this video and came in to leave a nasty comment, hold off on that, just learned something new. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, people. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I will be live later today with an awesome live stream on something. And I had a lot of fun putting this video together. Anyway, till we meet again, keep it locked here for more things on Nintendo, Sony, and whatever else we feel like posting. Until then, God bless and happy gaming. Have a good one, people. See ya.